to Tack Talk with myself, Harry13, and your boy Claudio. How you doing, Claudio?
Hello. Doing fine. What about you, Martin?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. Just since last time, obviously, still in the process of getting my new job signed off, etc. But yeah, it's been a good weekend of Pioneer. Played quite a lot of Pioneer this weekend, well, for me anyway, and a lot of interesting events that we've got in store for the show today. So
yeah, there were like three tournaments this weekend, right? We had both challenges and a PTQ.
yeah, and there's some interesting. It's quite an interesting weekend. There was a lot of. Would you say the meta looked like it evolved some level like this weekend? Like there was a lot of interesting decks that made a good run in these events.
Yeah, I think things are moving in a very interesting direction because I think finally the decks that are opposing Phoenix are showing up and they are doing what they're supposed to do and they're doing well.
Yeah.
Like you still see like the story of this is just going to be like you still see a lot of Phoenix doing well and having a lot of copies in top 32s, but you see that like the reaction is definitely occurring. Like people are fighting back and they're succeeding with a bunch of different strategies, which is pretty cool. You see a return of control this weekend. We are probably going to talk about that since you dwell in one of the events.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it seems like there's a few angles to hit Phoenix with. Like some people were going under, as we can start with like the PTQ. Obviously, the winner is probably one of the most deserving people to win a PTQ, and Thiago Saporito, just an absolute fucking sorry, my language, just an absolute monster.
The Bloodsoaked Champion Master.
Yeah, the master of casting Bloodsoaked Champion in turn one. Played Black White Humans, very interesting list. We kind of discussed earlier on, I believe, about Thalia and how it would impact Pioneer. It looks like Thalia is starting to make her mark on the format. This is a very nice list that Belobos came to the table with. I managed to get to the top 8 of this PTQ, and I played him in the quarterfinals, and neither game was particularly close. I got absolutely smashed. But this deck's very interesting.
I quite like Dire Tactics as a removal spell. Like it's quite cheap and exiles any creature, which is very relevant these days. I like that. And your creature switch is just very annoying. You have the Talia, the freebooter, and this is also a Lurus deck, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I like freebooter a lot. It's quite efficient. A lot of people playing Elite Spellbinder, which is obviously another good Magic card, but just a little bit clunky. Being able to include Lotus in this deck is huge. This is like this is like one of the general like reasons why I don't like playing white-based control decks that rely on rafts that destroy creatures, because most of the decks you want the rafts in for tend to have Lotus, and then what happens is you try and wipe the board, and then they just have this Lotus engine come down and buy back all the creatures you've just got rid of. I like this one because there's a lot of creatures that make it a nightmare for anyone trying to deal with the board. It's really difficult to almost like wipe the board out in one go. Yeah, it's just a very resilient, aggressive strategy, and yeah, I think it was a great choice this weekend. Well, evidently, as Thiago got the W, the big fat W. So well done to him.
Yeah, we can say now that Humans is here to stay as a established archetype, I would say.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think if players like Thiago Saporito and you've got Rastav, another very good Magic player, playing another iteration of Humans in the top 8.
Yeah, this is a collected company version, right?
Yeah, it's basically in the main, literally just playing green for collected company. It's essentially mono white Humans and some cards at the sideboard. Another good version. I'm not sure. I mean, you're obviously sacrificing the Lotus to have an engine or like a card that you can buy back and collect a company. This is quite a nice build. Adeline's very nice, a nice new card, but also Thalia, playing the 2-mana Thalia, which can be a nightmare. And yeah, this another similar.
Kind of interesting to see which version is going to be end up being the best, because like you have some disruption. Like this is playing Spellbinder because you want to maximize your 3 drops for collected company.
Yeah, and then
But the other one has Freebooter, so they're kind of similar.
Yeah, and I think this is more of a aggro mid range, which might fall into a bad place in the meta. Like it might just be neither here or there, so to speak. Yeah, but I wonder if if it's better in the mirror, in the humans mirror, that might come up more often. Maybe the white green version might be preferred going forward.
Yeah, so let's just give a quick rundown of the top 8 here.
Yeah, okay.
So below one with humans. Second place we have Phoenix.
Yeah, Phoenix splashing white for some sideboard cards.
This is the kind of stock version of the Jeskai Phoenix deck. It's not that popular, but this has been happening for a while. They splash Helvery and Mentor in the sideboards.
I'm gonna be honest, I think this is very sus. I think this is splash.
I think that's
No, I've just never liked splashing a third color in a format where your mana is not amazing for a couple of like niche sideboard cards or sideboard cards that are like Monastery Mentor, for example. Like, is that what massive benefit does that bring that's worth splashing a third color for? Like, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of this third color. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm just wrong, right? But Sunset Revelry just seems like a card that you don't really want to play in tangent with Thing in the Ice. I don't know, like it's a bit of a stretch adding this
I would
third
have
color.
to play this to know for sure, but like if Sunset Revelry fixes your worst matchup is Burn, the splash is worth it, but it has to be super powerful in that matchup.
Yeah, maybe it gets a little bit better because people are playing humans now as well. Like, I don't know. I'm very not convinced that this is the right way to go about
things. At the very least, people should keep in mind that this is a thing because
I mean, it came second, so you know. But I mean,
because
like, I think. No, sorry.
You see a lot as something we were talking about. Big part of the reaction to Phoenix is that Mono Red and Burn are really popular now. So you need to find ways to fight these decks because it's going to be a popular matchup.
Yeah.
We see here in third place kind of the stock big red deck list, if you want to call it that.
Yeah.
It's like pretty stock, but it's playing the new cards Imperial Gatekeeper. So you kind of have like 7 Eidolon effects in your deck.
Yeah, it's quite
potent against Phoenix.
Yeah, essentially Gatekeeper is kind of like you're like 5th, 6th, and 7th Eidolon. It's not quite as good as Eidolon. It's narrowly better in certain circumstances, but overall you just prefer to play the 2-mana enchantment. This deck's been doing reasonably well. I mean, I don't think you and I would be, you and I are very skeptical of like chunky red decks in Pioneer, have been for a while, but I mean, if it's putting up numbers, then it must be doing something right. I've seen it quite a few times in leagues. I know the trophy leader at the moment is playing it almost all the time. Obviously, leagues, I wouldn't take too much stock from league anything to do with like leagues.
To be fair, I like this current deck list a lot more than before because it's playing less like clunky card like Torbran and Glurbringer. The curve is slower now, so you're kind of playing good creatures. Chainwheeler is pretty good right now because there's a lot of humans.
Yeah, Chainwheeler's quite a nice one. I mean, if your opponents are playing Thalia, Garnet Thraben, then Chainwheeler's gonna wreak absolute havoc on them.
Yeah, your mana base is really clean, which is pretty important in the burn mirrors. Like
Yeah,
if you're playing as Boros Burn, this is just going to crush them.
yeah, and also Den of the Bugbear is a huge addition to this deck that we have only seen recently. Like that's something we shouldn't ignore. Den of the
Mm-hmm.
Bugbear is like a massive, massive upgrade because the thing that these decks always struggled with the black decks have always had access to was cards like creature lands,
Mm-hmm.
and you never really had that good a land to have access to in red, like apart from Ramanap runes. But Ramanap runes comes with a real cost. Like you take damage every time you try and play red. But the end of the Bugbear is massive. So when you start flooding out, you have ways to sink your mana into some proactive action. So yeah, I mean, again, not my cup of tea, but I
Can't deny the results, right?
yeah, can't deny the results, and yeah, it looks like it's going to be here for a while anyway.
Yeah. So like in third place we have this chunk red deck. In fourth place we have Suck Boros Burn.
Yeah, I have literally nothing to say about it.
Yeah.
It's just Burn. Burn's always like been reasonable, and
In
that's
fifth place you have Rastafit the company deck.
yeah,
In sixth place we have, I believe this is just Stock Phoenix. Yep.
yeah.
So just Stock
The two
Phoenix.
crews to trespass. It's normally either like a 2-1 or 2-2 split between them. Two crews every time, sometimes more than two trespass. Entrancing Melody, it's one of these cards I don't really
Yeah,
understand.
like the main deck is kind of the stock version these days, right? But the
Yeah,
sidebar looks like it's an old sideboard because people were
yeah,
playing Melody when Enso was very popular.
yeah. I'm not a huge fan of Melody at all, to be honest. Like,
It has its spots, but at the moment I would not play this, I think.
no, I don't like it. I think it's like you said, one in Soul was popular, but now you're just paying three mana steal a burn creature, 4 mana. It's a lot of mana for what you want for the matchups you want it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like in Soul you can just play 2 mana, which is great, but like every other aggressive strategy is too slow, I think.
Sixth place will have Heralds.
Yep.
Playing blue black control. Like we talked about the past week about how to build this, and you got to a spot where you really like your list. Can you talk about the new cards you're playing?
Yeah, so basically I've been playing Phoenix for since what was the card since Consider has been out. Basically, I played like week one with like blue black control. Didn't really like it at the time, and then like coming into the PTQ weekend, I realized that like I felt like Phoenix hate was going to be at an all-time high, and it felt like um I wanted to have I wanted to build a deck that I felt like had like good matchups across the board, and then matchups that I wasn't so comfortable with. I wanted to have a good plan against. So basically, um, cards that I've been wanting to play that I think are really underrated, like Graveyard Trespasser in the sideboard. And then I wanted to try out the new Sorin. I realized new Sorin was great. I really like Sorin in this deck because it gives you like a new angle. It finally gives like blue black a planeswalker on like a reasonably cheap planeswalker that's actually good. This one is it allows you to build a creature like lifelink creatures, which are really important. Something the deck's always lacked. Main board, you just never really had any reasonable ways to gain life, and you were quite susceptible to decks like Burn. But then Sorin gave you a chance game one against those decks, along with Cling to Dust. I feel like if to build a control deck, you really need to have as efficient removals as possible. And I believe that if you're playing, I'm not a believer in playing any control deck that doesn't contain black. I think black has got by far the best removal, so that's why I've been playing blue black in general quite a lot over my time in Pioneer.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Yeah,
think it.
now you can't play stuff like blue white because of Talia. Talia makes your deck terrible, and you don't
Yeah,
have any efficient answers, right?
yeah, exactly. Thalia like exacerbates the problem. Like if you're playing blue white, you're just never you're you're never going to be able to cast your removal spells in time. With this deck, you're playing basically 5 1 mana removal spells, like 4 push, 2 1 thirst, and then you're playing cards that like are just good in general. Like Extinction Event, I feel like has always been pretty good, but now it's even better. Like it just deals with a lot of like problematic threats that are hard to kill. Obviously very good against Phoenix. Like I feel like you have a great Phoenix matchup. I was expecting a lot of Phoenix, and I feel like the Phoenix matchup in general is just so good. Like you have Cling to Dust. If you get Cling to Dust to Phoenix, it's amazing, and you have two Extinction Events to deal with the Phoenixes and Fatal Push, etc., to deal with all like the thing nice. And yeah, I feel like you've just got a great Phoenix matchup, and then post board you're playing cards like, as I said, Trespasser. You're playing you board in like three Trespasser, two Kalitas, and a lot against a lot of the aggressive strategies. So these cards allow you to play a very good mid range plan, and I felt like Graveyard Trespasser has just been insane for me.
I think it's really nice that this card's doubles and a scavenging you like a graveyard hate piece and life gain. So it's basically scavenging use, right?
Yeah, and it's also like it also provides a real clock. So something that's long been the case against like Burn is that post board they just bring in a load of enchantments like Roiling Vortex. So what normally happens is you end up just getting clocked out by Roiling Vortex because you just can't race them in time once you deal with their threats. Graveyard Trespasser gives you a real clock because people often underestimate its draining capabilities because your opponent loses life every time you exile something from a graveyard, a creature from a graveyard. And if it flips into the Glutton, then like you just win the race. Like, and I found that a lot in testing when I was playing against Burn, that like if I landed a Graveyard Trespasser, they could never effectively remove it because Burn can't really afford to 2-for-1 themselves. And the body's relevance, and yeah, like it's just been an absolute house. And then
I think the werewolf plays really well in a control deck where you're passing a lot, so this is just going to be flipped, and it's on the opponents to flip it back.
yeah, exactly. Graveyard Trespasser just it's another thing that Blue Black's been missing, like a real sideboard plan, a real transformational sideboard plan, almost like a real kind of like different access to bring in post board. Because I felt like previously with Blue Black, like the only two creatures you were going to bring in were like Kalitas, and as much as Kalitas is a great like answer, a great threat, like it's not. It doesn't impact. It makes no impact on the board, or makes no impact when it enters the battlefield, and people are normally aware of it and can deal with it. But Trespasser just the discard ward is just so good, and
And
like
it just compounds, right? Because if you play this on turn 3 and they deal with it, the chances that your Kalitas lives are bigger. So
yeah, exactly. And then the last piece of technology is the Hullbreaker Horror. I feel like I was trying out main, but then you made the good point of like it's too expensive to play main. But in this sideboard, it's great to have access to because it just like it's a control mirror breaker, right? And it also is just great against Phoenix as well. So like
Phoenix can never beat this card.
yeah, and postboard against Phoenix, the games go a lot longer. Like the way they try and beat you now is like galvanic iteration into temporal trespass. So so they can try and take multiple turns, but the issue they have is a lot of their threats are no longer there because you managed to deal with them. But this card just slams the door shut on them. So yeah, I like this. I like this card a lot. I liked the deck for the weekend, and it put up good results. I did pretty well with it. Obviously, getting to the top 8. Unfortunately, this specific build, I wasn't completely aware or completely ready for humans, and I think like it was a bit unfortunate as well with my draws, I will say, but at the same time, the matchup was tough, and going forward,
you definitely could have prepared the deck list to beat humans a bit more.
yeah,
But yeah, really solid finish.
yeah, thanks.
Bringing back control to the table. I think this is something I would recommend moving forward. Maybe adjust your deck for the humans matchup, but like this is something that like especially the trespassers in the sideboard. always like this card a lot, and it's pretty cool that it's in play in a deck like this.
Yeah, I think the card is great. I think it's super underrated right now.
Yeah. And rounding out the top 8 here, we have Pyromancer. This deck has been on the heavy decline lately,
Yeah.
but it's still a powerful strategy, and someone managed to get here. It's important to know just because I think this deck might come back if humans becomes really prominent.
Yeah.
Because you're just playing Fatal Push Arcanist, right? This is the deadly combination.
Yeah, I think Black Red is always on the periphery of being like one of the top decks. Sometimes it slips into tier 1.5 territory, but I mean it's just a Croxa is a powerful weapon. So is Dreadhorde Arcanist, and if you're not careful, like if you're not prepared for this deck, it will rip you apart. Like it's very can be very problematic.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to be careful.
Yeah, and I don't think there's anything else here
No, I think
that I want to talk about. Like some people are playing Jund again, Jund Food.
yeah.
It's doing okay, but no like great results. But
Yeah, no
people
top
are
some
playing that again.
some top 16s, but no I know some good players like Genki and Andre are quite high on it, but I've yet to see any real results with it yet. So I mean we can maybe talk about it if it starts making progress.
They say that the deck is good against Phoenix because they like you don't care about Phoenix the ice and they can never attack through the cats, which is something I could believe.
Yeah. Yeah, I could agree with that as well.
Yeah. So moving on here, we had like the Saturday challenge as well.
Yeah.
The winner was McQueen Sauce. He was playing Incarnation.
Yeah, and I know you've been high on this deck as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you should be talking. You can talk about this one then.
Yeah, I think he didn't make any changes. He's playing the Cemetery Prowler, which is I was not as I think this is a very good card, but I don't know exactly where's the best fit for it. But I don't think he made any changes. Like this is a very red hate card that's somewhat annoying for red X to kill. So
Yeah, four toughness is really good in the format. Really big.
yeah, I think this deck is like pretty solid. I was since Phoenix started playing the Temporal Trespass combo, I kinda felt difficult to beat them when they didn't find Rest in Peace. And you don't find Rest in Peace every game, despite
Mhm.
having the tutors. So I kinda stopped playing this for a bit, but I think it's still a pretty good deck, for
Yeah,
sure. On the finals here, we have a very spicy deck. Some brewers are still alive in the format.
that's good to see.
Yeah, we have here a deck playing Wandering Mind. It's Grixis Fire's deck.
Hmm.
Honestly, I'm not going to say anything about this deck. Like it looks like it's not something that should be very good, but I might bite my tongue here. Like the deck's still playing very good cards like Fatal Push and Toxis.
Yeah, I mean the numbers, the card numbers are a lot to be desired. I think there could be an optimal, tuning. I think there's a lot of I don't really understand a lot of the numbers here. Like there's like three of Fatal Push, three of Thoughtseize, two Expressive Iteration, etc. Like I feel like two
Mhm.
Sensor. Don't really know why. Like three Fires.
Yeah, some weird
It's
things going
just
on for sure
I
here.
feel there's a lot of Magic players out there that are either 10 heads way above my level of thinking, but like on the surface, I probably wouldn't advocate for these numbers. I think some of the
Yeah,
cards are just
there's some weird cards here for sure,
like
Fire
Sensor
Prof.
just doesn't. I don't see
I,
the point.
I kind of like the sensor actually because it helps you to get to like fires doesn't work with counter spells, right? So this kind of makes sense as a counter spell that you can play with fires because after you drop your fires, you can just cycle this away.
Mm.
So
I also think like I would just play like 1 or 2 less lands and play 4 expressive iteration. Like that card is just so good. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not I'm not gonna be.
Kind of interesting to say as well that like as we get the like more lands into Pioneer, the mana base of these color combinations starts becoming more viable. Like this is a Grixis deck, something that we don't usually see because the mana base was bad before. But now you got more options. Like you have pathways, you have the slow lands, so things are moving in a direction where you can actually
I
try to
really
build
hope.
decks like this.
Yeah, I really hope Grixis becomes a genuine archetype at some point. The mana is good enough. But
Yeah.
yeah, interesting. Biz one, good job. And really interesting list.
Yeah.
Um,
Third place we have Stock Phoenix.
yep.
Fourth place we have
A
Stock
stock
Burn.
burn. Yeah, kind of goes hand in hand right now. Like you're probably going to see like a burn list and
Yeah.
a multiple
Once you see
Phoenix.
one, you see another. Yeah.
Yeah, was Gold Cat playing anything
Oh,
spicy?
he was playing through Jason the main deck.
I seen that. I played against someone who's playing this in leagues. Yeah, I mean, I can see it because like a lot of the times, like a lot of games are going long. Game one, although
Yeah, like
it's just in Jason's.
don't be fooled. This deck is not about the Dark Light Phoenix cards.
No,
Yeah, this is something completely different, and I think people started realizing this now. So that's why you see the deck doing a bit worse. The way you fight the Phoenix deck, you have to care about like Thing in the Ice and the Temporal Trespass. That's what you have to care about. So
yeah. Although zero treasure cruise, this is something I'm not really. I understand, but
like
I
once
just
you're
can't get
doing this,
behind.
like Pieces of the Puzzle is just a better card in your deck, right? Because you want to mill out as fast
Oh
as
yeah,
possible.
you want to mill it as fast as possible, but treasure cruise is just. There's so many matchups where treasure cruise matters, and that's something I would always advocate for playing. It's just such an amazing like it just it's just the payoff for using all these like efficient like spinning wheel cards, right? Like you have the payoff of being able to cast a treasure cruise for 1 mana and the special recall. So but yeah, like Gold Cat's obviously a very good player and you'll have a lot of reasons for why he builds the decks the way he does. So I'm not gonna critique too much. I mean I don't play as much Phoenix now, so there's probably really good reasons for that. Interesting list, as always. Gold Cat normally crushes these events, so he's been top 8 in a massive amount. Stock, Winota, this is a deck that's kind of disappeared for a bit. I think the deck is not quite as good as what people imagined it would be. Like, I think the issue it has is a lot of like I think people thought it had a good match against Phoenix, but it probably doesn't really. Like a lot of the creatures line up poorly against the removal that's available. I'm
I
not.
like that this is playing Selfless Spirit and Voice of Resurgence. I think if you move in this direction, you can start having a better Phoenix matchup. 'Cause you have to play stuff like this that makes them awkward to interact
Yeah,
because like you said, your main card dies Lightning Axe, so you have to punish them for playing that.
yeah, of course.
Yeah, but this is pretty stock in general. So let me see if this is the deck. Yeah, no, this is just stock burn again. Like you see that burn is doing really well these days.
See what Misplaced Ginger is playing. What
Yeah,
version of
Misplaced
Phoenix?
Fingers playing Phoenix, I think.
Yeah, he's playing the previous version that Gold Cat was on. The kind of 2 cruise, 1 trespass. Um, Ginger is a kind of seasoned Phoenix player, so it doesn't surprise me that he's made it on a top 8 with the list in Pioneer, despite I haven't really seen him play much in a while and seen him start playing again. And obviously, only a matter of time before he starts putting up consistent results in the top 8s. Very good Magic player. Below made 16th in this. Yeah, and
I don't see anything
oh,
else.
you've got the Mighty Dawnster on the green.
I
Ratty
was watching him play this and like this is like a mono green ramp deck with the Eldrazi.
Mhm.
And like this, like I think his losses were to Winota decks actually, and he
Wow.
beat a bunch of he beat a bunch of the Phoenix decks because the cardboard breakers just a house against them.
Yeah.
The issue of this deck is that you can't interact with creatures early, so he was just gets destroyed by Winota.
Yeah.
But like against Phoenix, it was a bloodbath
Oh
because like
yeah. This
he could play this very fast.
this deck is something I've been wanting to play for a long time. Again, like it ramps like completely non-existent in the format. Um, I don't really want to see it come back now that I'm playing Control. Is it's just so hard to beat ramp with Control. Like an Ulamog, an Emrakul, and it's over. Um, yeah, cool.
I think Karn is a card that's super powerful that doesn't have a deck right now. That's actually
Yeah,
good.
Karn is criminally underplayed right now. As you
Yeah.
said, it just doesn't have a home, but it's. I remember the days where it was played at least every league. Two or three decks I'd play in a row would be playing Karn, and it was just such a horrible card to play against.
Yeah. Don't
But
think there's
yeah.
anything else here that's worth
Oh
mentioning. Do you have
no.
anything else?
No, obviously I see some blue black, but I'm not sure. I think a lot of like the blue black decks other people were playing are kind of the kind of people that've been playing blue black for a long time. They haven't decided to play it for any rhyme or reason other than they like playing the archetype, but nothing too nothing super interesting. Just go on to the final one. The final
Yeah. This is like the Sunday challenge was won by Lotus Field. This is the same person that won the showcase 2 weeks
yeah,
ago.
yeah.
And this is like another deck, much like the burn decks, that's making us a comeback because this deck is also destroys Phoenix.
Yeah, I mean Lotus is one of these kind of decks that
You don't have the tools to interact with what they're doing, right?
yeah, if you're not like Lotus thrives in a meta where if people were playing like slow decks, I don't really see how this beats humans. I think this deck dies to Thalia. Um, I've never been a big fan of this ever since World Underworld Breach left. Um, I think it's very
It lost a lot of raw power, but it has a niche spot. When the time is right, the deck has the just can come back and get the tournaments, right?
yeah, but I'm not gonna lie, I hate this deck
And
with a passion. It's
yeah,
probably one of my least favorite decks to play. Like decks that you just have zero interaction, or just like goldfish decks like this, or just decks I just like really hate playing against. Like I hope Hidden Strings or Lotus Field gets banned at some point in the future, just for the reason that it's not fun to play against. But yeah, I think this player's done reasonably well with it. I think they played them in Swiss, I think, and to be honest, like you had the similar experience. I think they got quite fortunate. I think they ripped a thought distortion off the top to
yeah,
not
I played
lose the
against this
match.
player in the Swiss, or was it in top eight? And
It must be,
I
yeah,
had a
last.
Valkyrie play, and I exiled the Thought Distortion, and I Thought Distortion them, discarding the whole hand, and they drew into a period of the abyss, peer into the abyss, and I lost.
Yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, I don't really mind this deck. I think it's fine. If you're experienced player, you know when you're dead, so you can just scope the game, so it doesn't get boring.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, but I think this deck definitely has a spot. I see that people now are playing more cards like Fry in the sideboard because it's something to kill Talia and Winota.
yeah,
And Rending
yeah.
Volley, yeah, Rending Volley is a card that's being played a lot right now in a lot of decks.
Yeah, it's really good now against humans and thing and nice. So yeah, Rending Volley is a nice sideboard card at the moment to play if you have access to red.
Yeah, for
Um,
people listening as well, I think this deck is very similar to the deck that to the Challenger deck. So
yeah,
I think this is a very easy upgrade for people looking to buy into Pioneer. Just a quick note.
yeah.
Um, In second place, I played against the Ladon as well. This deck is this version of Gru is very interesting. I didn't get it at first, but he's not playing any mana dorks.
This Layden just does what they want, right? Like I'll
And it
never.
kind of makes sense to me because like Phoenix has a bunch of shoot damage spells and spike field hazards. So you say I'm not going to play any creature that dies to that.
Yeah.
So and they're playing the 4 copies of Cemetery Prowler because this card is kind of a ramp spell as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
It helps you double spell. Like you play this on turn 3 and on turn 4 you can double spell or even triple spell because this just reduces the cost of your creatures.
Yeah, Cemetery
I
Prowler
think
is a nice
this
one.
deck has to be like decent against Phoenix at the very least, right? Because he usually does pretty well with this. So
Yeah, Bone Crusher Giant seems to be doing pretty well recently in the format as well. Like it's just a card that's not
yeah.
easy to get
Like
off the table, and
how humans can beat a Glory Bringer?
don't know, probably
Yeah,
never.
probably never. Right?
Mesium Mortars is a nice one, like a 2 mana removal for Thing in the Ice, and it incidentally can be a Wrath if you want it to.
Mhm.
4 copies of Shatter Skull Smashing. Yeah, I mean,
I think this
guys,
deck is not as a meme as people might say that it is.
I don't think so. I think it's one of these decks that I definitely am not going to say it's tier 1. It's definitely like a tier 2 deck that, if you're very experienced in the archetype, in Pioneer, like you don't get punished for not playing tier 1 decks necessarily. There's a lot of strategies that people can play, and they're good enough in the format that they're very knowledgeable with the cards that they're wielding, and they can put up good results. Like Laid On here, who's
Hmm?
put up a number of top 8s. So yeah, fair play.
Third place. Let's see. Yeah, this
TREC.
is a stock burn. Not for me.
Mattia typically plays
Yeah,
Burn and Pioneer. Obviously, Mattia is a very good player, so
very
not
clear.
surprised me. Doesn't surprise me that we've got a top 8 here. Um,
Yeah.
Stock Burn. Burn is probably almost certainly going to put up a copy in the top 8
Oh,
event.
this is like another point in Ladle's favor. I think that if you're playing a chunky creature, a green creature deck, you're in a good place against burn because usually they need multiple burn spells to kill your dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, this runs over Burn. Like, Burn just gets absolutely smashed by these decks. Bone Crusher Giant is just insane against Burn as well. It should be
Yeah,
good.
yeah.
And then Bart Van Etten, very good player, playing Phoenix. The
This
Magicer was talking very high of Bart and saying like he plays the deck very well.
hmm.
So yeah, fair play to him. Good players doing well, doesn't surprise me. Um, White
Here we
Black
see
Humans,
the Bolovo deck. I think it's
yeah,
the same list.
yeah. I mean, Blobo does very well. I'm interested in the portable holes over fatal push. I'm guessing there's like relevant reasons for that. Um,
I so let's see here. What are you trying to get with this?
maybe it's just the mana base. Am I being crazy? I mean,
I
obviously, it gets rid of
I don't think
permanents.
so. I don't think so because you are trying. You already have like a black one drop. So if you're trying to play Fatal Push, you could.
Yeah,
Yeah, there must be a reason for this. I don't get it. What we're trying to do. It could be like against burn to kill chain to the rocks and cards like that.
yeah, makes sense.
Like in the mirror match, you can kill their rally to the ranks.
Yeah, no, portable hole might be reasonable here. You're not
Yeah.
really holding up mana for instant speed either, so yeah, we can get behind that. You don't really have any reasonable ways to trigger revolt, to be honest. So
Yeah, the containment priest that the decks are playing the sideboard is quite interesting. It's something that's good against Winota.
yeah,
And it can exile the Phoenix if you time it right.
yeah, no, containment priest is quite a nice one actually. Thinking
Yeah.
about that, like, yeah, it can just absolutely nail phoenixes. Yeah, that's pretty sick actually. The containment priest.
Yeah, and sometimes just having a flash bear helps you play around drafts as well,
Yeah.
which is not bad. Yeah, in sixth place, there's me. I was playing Yoruniv.
Yeah,
I
it's
think
quite a nice list.
Niv is a deck that has kind of disappeared, but I still think it's really good in the meta because you have a reasonable Phoenix matchup and you're very good against the creature decks like Burn.
Yeah.
So I was trying to I was basically trying a deck that could fit Wandering Mind.
Yeah.
And yeah, the deck performed pretty well. I think that the Phoenix deck right now is very one-dimensional because it completely relies on the graveyard since people are not even playing Kraken Drakes and Sprite Dragons anymore. So I think Rest in Peace is really well positioned. It's really good against the deck. And like the idea here is that I'm playing the Wandering Minds in the main and Postboard. Just helps me dig towards the Rest in Peace and the Goblins.
Yeah, I like the Wonder Mines a lot. It's a really nice card to have access to. Yeah, I think your construction here was very well done, and obviously got your awards in the top 8.
Yeah, like having Wandering Mind in Colligan's Command is like a neat value package. It's pretty good. And the biggest problem for this kind of deck for a long time was consistency and having cards that lets you look at the top 6 cards of your deck. It's so much. It helps you find the tools you need to do what your opponent is doing.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
like it a lot.
Yeah, no, not much difference here. Like a bunch of things you would expect, but I think this deck is pretty solid. And I will probably keep working on this moving forward. Not sure if this is actually at a point where this is better than normal Niv, but it's definitely on the table now that it could be like a very good choice.
Yeah, no, I agree. The Wonder Mine definitely helps a lot. With the
I
Yori
think
on deck.
that's a really good card that should be seen playing more decks. It's pretty powerful.
I agree. I agree.
In seventh place, you have the Menace.
Uh,
The Feather deck has returned.
uh, I'm not a fan of this. However, I will say Mavinda, Student's Advocate, it's a nice inclusion. Essentially, another Feather-esque card in terms of value. Like a nice value 3-drop.
Yeah, it's pretty. Usually you see this deck playing lures, right? But this is not playing lures to play Feather. Which is kind of interesting because Feather plays well against red removal in general. Basically, only Lightning Axe can touch this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have to assume that this is okay against Phoenix because you can like Phoenix Dice is not going to do anything against you because you have Reckless Rage.
Yeah, I think the Reckless Rage is like really well positioned against Phoenix. I like it a lot. Means that yeah, you can easily punch through. That's something that Red doesn't. Burn sometimes has difficulties like punching through Phoenix, although you have the prowess creatures, but you're also probably slightly favored against the burn matchup as well, I'd imagine. Like you must
Could see
feel
it.
kind of good against because you
Like
can
the whole part
outsize.
is just amazing against them because of
Yeah,
the damage prevention clause.
yeah. Like your creatures just outsize the burn creatures often. Like 10th District Legionnaire can outgrow it. And then you
Yeah.
can you've got like go
This is
for
also playing the new card Ancestral Anger. That's pretty cool.
yeah, it's a nice addition as well. It's much
Yeah.
better than the what was the
Crash through.
card? Crasher, yeah, it's like an upgrade to Crasher, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's a nice one indeed.
Yeah. I like the Fiend Slayers in the sidebar. This card is probably very well positioned right now.
Oh yeah, protection from black, right?
And red.
Yeah. It's
Like first strike lifelink, just everything burn hates.
yeah, yeah. Like and also like it's going to be pretty reasonable. I was gonna say against humans, probably not. The majority of creatures are black, white. Sorry. Yeah, it's a nice one against. It's a nice one to bring in against Burn. And then they're playing 3 Alpine Moon. I quite like against Lotus. Yeah, another like reasonable tier
Yeah,
1.5.
the sideboard is a bit weird, but I can dig it some of the card choices here.
Mhm.
It's always nice to see a deck that's not very popular show up and do well.
Yeah.
Quite cheap as well. Um, 8th place we have. Oh, this is very spicy. It's just Ascendancy, everything you would expect, but it's playing. First of all, it's playing a Fae of Wishes package,
One fail wishes.
but it's also playing Bring to Light,
Wow.
and it's also playing a Noyandar. Do you
No,
know what this card
what?
does?
Let's read it.
So 5 mana for 4. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery, basically you get to put 2 counters on a land and make it like it's a Nissa land. Basically, it's a elemental with 3 counters.
Jeez. Okay.
So this is kind of a creature than Sylvan Awakening.
Yeah.
I have no idea if this is good or not, but this is pretty fucking sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, and
Wow.
the sideboard is pretty crazy. They have like a liar.
Wait, what is? Wait.
Uh,
What's that card do?
oh, this is the liar, the creature that gives flashback to your cards,
Oh
the standard
wow.
cards.
Wow.
You have like approach of the second sun is pretty funny.
Okay.
Uh,
This is like a 27 head like build, I guess.
yeah, this person has to be a Japanese player for sure. Like I don't know.
Yeah. The water over there is just different.
Yeah, I think I never have seen like I saw people playing Fail Wishes before, but like having the Bring to Light and the No Yandar, it's kinda sick. To be honest, I think that you could probably like play a couple more copies of this and play like a Valky because it's just so free.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh wow. This is so funny.
Yeah, but this is definitely interesting. Like people just sometimes drop archetypes without trying to innovate on them, and this is something that just saying like you can build upon ideas and you can try to make decks better and take them in another direction.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, this is an interesting one for sure. Annoying
I
dark.
would, yeah, I would never imagine I would see this card doing well in any tournament.
No, me neither.
Funny.
That's like the 10 cent jank rare box. Jesus.
Yeah, I'm not sure if this is actually good. Like, when would you actually get this with your Bring to Light instead of Sylvan Awakening exactly?
Hmm. If your opponent has tested talents.
Sure, or yeah, I don't know, maybe. Because you can actually Bring to Light for 5 with the Sylvan Caryatid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Definitely very sweet.
Very interesting one.
Yeah, you came in 9th here with the same list, I think, right?
I
Or you
literally
make any
changed. I
changes?
changed the one cyborg card. In light of like humans, I tried to change
Oh, the
um
cry.
the cry of the Carnadium for the I took out the collective brutality for a copy of Cry of the Carnadium. I think in this one I got beat by the person that won. I got beat by Lotus Field. Again, similar to you, like was in a winning position to win the match, and then they ripped like a thought distortion off the top, and then
Mm-hmm.
like it's just standard procedure with like that matchup. Like sometimes it basically revolves around like if they get the natural thought distortion, or if you thought seize them before they thought distortion you, or if you like have a resolved Narset and you like you or like basically you need to have some sort of like value engine on the battlefield like Narset for like and what oftentimes I will not like minus Narset when I resolve it early on because I'd rather like save the activations in case they thought distortion me.
Mm-hmm.
Um and yeah, just kind of scenario where they
Yeah,
got shit and then
if you're playing a blue deck and Lotus starts showing up again, you have to play Narset's Reverse in your sideboard. Otherwise, the situation you described is just going to happen.
yeah, and I don't think I'll play Narset's Reversal. I
Quite
think
yet?
hmm?
Oh, I think that maybe Narset's reversal is well positioned because doing that to the extra turn card sounds pretty nasty.
Yeah, that's also true. Narset's reversal might be fine as a one-off. It's just trying to find the slots.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was another decent run. I think I finished like 5-2 and then missed out on breakers, unfortunately. I lost against Lotus and again to Belovo's humans deck. Again, it was just one of those situations where my game one opener was soft to that deck specifically, and I got ran over game one. And then game two,
Mm-hmm.
I got mana screwed. So I felt like both the matches I played in the competitive events that weekend were kind of not a true reflection on the matchup. I feel like the matchup would normally be a lot closer than both the matches I played turned out to be. But yeah, I was happy. Like, came in ninth, like went 5-2. Like, it's a good result. And I
Yeah,
mean, I should.
pretty solid weekends.
Yeah, I mean, as I said to you the other day, I also went like I 5-0'd in leagues 3 times in a row. So I went 15-0 in leagues at one point, which was a first for me. That's obviously it's really difficult to do, regardless of like the standard of play. Like a lot of us will critique the standard of play in leagues; it can be quite mixed. But to win 15 games of Magic in a row is not easy.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, for sure.
So yeah.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, there's some spicy decks here as well, like Mono Black Zombies in 10th place.
Yep.
People keep trying to make this deck work. Maybe they will get there someday.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's another deck that's like kind of like Feather, but it's like maybe like almost good enough, but um still has some holes that need to be patched up before we can comfortably say it's one of the top decks.
Yeah, you need
Um,
better.
but
You need better creatures. You're going to like.
yeah, so
Yeah, you see some people playing Junds, like playing Jund Citadel. Some people playing just like Phoenix.
yeah,
Some blue white players.
yeah. You see in this, there's more white black. I think a lot of people were trying white black on the back of Belovo's win. The other
Mhm.
day, so that makes some sense and some general like there's a mismatch of like humans, Burn, Phoenix, like there's a kind of the usual subject suspects, but yeah, I think we can wrapping up these tournaments. I think we can see that there's a clear interest in white black humans. Humans is starting to make more of an impact. Thalia's presence has been felt in the format, which is nice. I think we
Mhm.
wanted that. We wanted some sort of influence from Crimson Vow. We're starting to get that. Humans is a nice welcomed return. Um, I think we will see more going forward. Um,
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
Cards. Is there any cards in particular that you think, apart from Thalia, that the new set's brought that you felt has made a strong impact in the format? Do you think the format's in a good place? Do you think there's bans could be on the horizon? Like, what's your thoughts?
I don't think besides Tali anything made a huge impact, but you see a lot of cards like Soaring, the Murphless in play in a bunch of decks.
Yeah,
Uh, you can say that it's like format changing, but the card is there for sure. It was a pretty big buzz for some decks.
yeah. I think Soren's going to have the similar feeling that Chandra Awakened Inferno would have if it was brought to the format. I think it's going to be played like a non-zero amount. I don't think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna warp the format. I think the Planeswalker is very well balanced. I think
Mm-hmm.
we've kind of came out of the era of Wizards printing overly like kind of busted
Powerful
Planeswalkers.
Planeswalkers.
Yeah, in formats like Standard, where like Gideon Ally or Zendikar was just like ridiculously powerful there. Chandra was very powerful there, and then obviously you had format warping like Planeswalkers like Oko and um I think Soren's on the kind of on the side of like Chandra Gideon level of like just very like a very good value Planeswalker, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
4 mana Planeswalker. So as long as it costs more than 3 mana, I think the real problematic ones were the 3 mana walkers. They were just too powerful for the casting cost. And I think once you get to the 4 mana realm, they're normally like quite well balanced. So yeah, Sorin and Thalia have started to. I mean, I'm a big fan of Sorin. I'm really glad they printed that Planeswalker.
Yep. I think that speaking to the other points, that I would say that Pioneer is in a good place, because you see that despite all the talk that Phoenix is busted and the deck needs to be banned, you see that the deck is not like people have moved on. They have found ways that works that can actually fight the deck.
Yeah.
And like other stuff it's succeeding, and that you can't argue with the results. Like you can play burn, you can play a bunch of other strategies, and that like you can play humans. Like humans is doing pretty well. I have been playing with spirits as well now, because spirits is another deck that can play Thalia. And like people are trying to do new stuff, and they're doing well. I think that's where I stand with Pioneer right now.
Yeah, before Crimson Vow came out, I was like definitely getting concerned, and even in the first week of Crimson Vow, I was still very concerned about the impact that Phoenix was having on the format, because it was definitely getting to the point where it was like 3 copies in the top 8 every week, 3+, and it was very concerning in that sense. Now I'm willing to pull back the reins. I don't think it's the end of my concerns for Phoenix. I feel like the fact that people can play Phoenix without Treasure Cruise kind of tells me that I initially thought Treasure Cruise was going to be the main issue.
I think if Treasure Cruise was banned today, it wouldn't even do anything.
Yeah. Now it's kind of thinking more on the lines of it probably would need to be the card arc like Phoenix, as opposed to Treasure Cruise. Or if you wanted to save Phoenix, you could probably ban Thing in the Ice, as that tends to be the real threat that
I
people
think
will
this is the strongest card in the deck for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, you could replace it with Smoldering Egg, but I don't think it would serve the same purpose, and it would still be a powerful card. Yeah, exactly. So,
and I think it's pretty telling that when you want to put into the work of like actually trying to figure out the problem, you most of the time you are going to be able to, like you found out that the plan of the sideboard the Graveyard Trespasser in blue black was just amazing against Phoenix, and it helped you turn that matchup around. And like stuff like this is just not going to present itself for you for free. You have to work for it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like if you put work in the archetype you're playing, you're going to be rewarded. So I encourage people to try to do that a bit more.
Yeah, me too. I think the format's has been underexplored for the past year. I think it's recovered a little bit. I think Pioneer's kind of settled. Like people were getting worried at some point. I thought like Pioneer was going to die or fall off the map, and it's kind of like it never happened. It's kind of remained kind of not the most popular format in the world, but like popular enough that it's a relevant thing that should always kind of be around. And I mean, you and I are basically Pioneer evangelists. Like I don't play any other formats. I'm firmly just Pioneer. It suits me. I like being a bit of a one trick in terms of like formats, because I feel like I like spending a reasonable amount of time playing Magic, but I can't afford to play as much as other people can. So like keeping it down to one format helps me stay focused and feel like I can play my best Magic in that one format. And you probably feel similar to me, I'm guessing, in that sense. So
yeah, I kind of feel the same as well.
Yeah. So I think that wraps it up. thanks once again for listening, everyone. And again to all our subscribers of the Patreon, thanks a bunch. Patreon news. I intend to. I'll be bringing out blue black on the back of my success this weekend. I'll be bringing out a blue black control cyber guide. I'll be bringing out a kind of primer for the tier 2 subscribers. That will be out sometime this week. It might be as late as the weekend, but I will get out. I will make sure it's out this week. I'm going to be working on it a bunch tomorrow, which will be Thursday. So I hope to have it out for either probably Friday or Saturday. But I'll try and get it as soon as possible. I'm excited to write about it. It's a very, very interesting deck, and I like it a lot. So I can't wait to share it with everyone.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it. You can sign us off.
Yep. So once again, thanks for listening to Tac Talk, and we will see you next time.
Yep. See you guys. Bye.